everybody. Welcome back to Q&A Anime. You're here with Kadir and Akil, and today we're discussing One Piece Chapter 1039.
Yes, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, updates, and let's get into it. So, this was one hell of a chapter, wasn't it, Akil?
Oh yeah, listen, I remember just last week we were talking what we think is going to go down in the rest of the Law Kid versus Big Mom fight. I did not expect to get answers so quickly, but we've seen a lot. The new generation is clearly trying to show that they're not given the title for nothing, I guess.
Yeah, they're not all talk. They're actually bringing the smoke. Speaking of smoke, we have Momonosuke starting off the chapter in dragon form, pulling Onigashima backwards with a line of clouds, and then he hears someone calling his name. My guess is that it's Zunisha. So,
yeah, I thought that too, especially because we did see before that Zunisha was making its way to Zoe.
Yeah, do you think that Zunisha's in trouble? Maybe the Navy's been shooting at her? Him? It? I don't know.
I doubt it. I feel like Zunisha's so massive that if anything, Zunisha probably wiped out the Marine fleet and is maybe on its way to Momo trying to tell him something important, or maybe give some assistance in terms of helping pull Onigashima away.
Well, you remember that when Jack was attacking Zunisha needed permission to fight back.
That's true, but I feel as though the way it looked in the panel when we saw Zunisha, it seemed as though, especially considering that the curse that Zunisha has, it can't stop walking. It has to keep walking forever. And so I think if it just simply followed that one order of walking forward, that would be more than enough to handle the majority of these Marine troops.
Do you think that, I guess that's a future prediction, but I was wondering if you think Momonosuke would ever deliver the order that Zunisha can rest?
I think that's probably going to be what's going to be happening around the end of Wano, especially given that the Minks live on the back of Zoe. If
right.
Momonosuke gives permission for Zoe to rest, it could literally just sit down next to Wano. And maybe, you know how before Wano was shaped like a flower or something?
Yeah, I do remember that.
With Onigashima being moved and stuff, I guess the shape of the country is going to be changing. And so I'm wondering if maybe with the addition of Zoe, it will take on a new shape that maybe has a symbolic meaning.
I guess we'll have to read on to find out. So we got Big Mom getting knocked clean off her feet.
Oh yeah, listen. After Kid hit her with that punk cornadillo, she had to admit that it was a strong attack that she was really. She admitted that she had been hit like that in a long time.
Yeah, I wonder who the last person to hit her like that was, considering she went face to face with Kaido pretty recently. But I guess they were just fighting for fun.
I was gonna say it definitely seems less deadly, I guess, because they fought plenty of times, and I'm sure that they know it just ends in a stalemate. So it was definitely more of a friendly trading of blows as opposed to what's going on with Law and Kid.
I love the banter between Kid and Law. Like when Law was saying, "I'm not your opening act."
Oh yeah.
The Kid's like, "That's not the point."
Yeah, and then Law's he's like, if that's the case, you do it then, and let me get the big flashy final move.
Speaking of flashy final moves, Law's Shock Willy disperses shockwaves from within the body. It looks like Big Mom's bones are broken, but she uses her ability to fix herself.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool, the way that she's showing yet another versatile way to use her devil fruit.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally bringing her bones to life to fix themselves.
Honestly, I love how Oda does stuff like this, and that's one of the things I do love about One Piece, that you'll have characters who get devil fruits and you hear the power and you're like, all right, but that doesn't sound very cool. But when you see that it's more not so much the devil fruit power, but the user especially, and how they find different ways to use their power that really decides what makes a great devil fruit.
Right. That's why I like Kuma's fruit, the paw fruit.
Yes.
I think that ability is completely underrated. And, well, not that it's underrated now that we know what it's capable of, but given its introduction, we were like, really? Pause? And he could it up with those.
Listen, bro, he'll put the paws on you, bro. Don't mess with him.
Yeah. Oh, no way. Not messing with Kuma anytime. So Kid's awakened ability, a sign, is very handy too. It looks like he used that ability to give Big Mom magnetism and she was stuck to that, that giant wall, and she had to like move it to get out the way.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think that's pretty cool too, especially considering that like it's strong enough to actually keep Big Mom stuck for a bit. You know, as long as the thing she's stuck to is big enough.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't big enough because she just turned around literally.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was impressed when she did it, so it looked as though she definitely had to exert some strength in order to rip it off the ground and use it.
Yeah.
But she was telling them that they've been doing this since they were babies, and they don't plan to stop anytime soon. So
yeah, I wonder how many people they fought, and if anyone's ever gotten that close to beating Big Mom or Kaido. I don't think so.
Good question. But I honestly I think the only person that we at least know of was Roger and Garp, because remember Big Mom, Kaido, and Whitebeard were all on Rox's crew.
Yeah, and they got beaten.
And we don't know exactly what went down, but we do know that the entire island that they fought on was leveled, and that Roger and Garp teamed up and won.
I really need to see that fight. That must have been ridiculous.
I know. Oh my goodness, dude! Like, when they said that, I was like, I can only imagine. Yeah. Oh my god.
And speaking of big things, we got Big Mom's follow-up, the 3,000 Leagues of Misery. I wasn't sure if it hit Kid. I could barely tell.
If it did, it definitely didn't land a heavy enough blow to keep him down. But it's a homing attack. It's sentient. It's alive. It can chase them down, so it could still pose a big threat to them. Especially considering that Big Mom is not off the island, and it doesn't seem as though she's fully KO'd at the end of this chapter.
Yeah. Speaking of KOs, I definitely want to get into that at the end there. But up next, we have to talk about Law's attack. His going from tact to K-Room to Puncture Willy, and the size of that Puncture Willy that went through the island.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Listen, when it went through the island, I was wondering, I'm like, is this helping Momonosuke, like, kind of like, because before he was kind of losing to the island a bit, and then Law just kind of ends up helping him out, and he's like, okay, maybe giving him a chance to pull the advantage. But that was incredible, and especially because Big Mom was beating down on him as he was still extending it further down.
I was just about to say that.
Bloody to a pulp, and he let Kid know. He's like, after this, like, he's like, I'm probably not gonna be able to do anything. Like, we have to. He's like, this is my final trump card.
He's at his limit. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And he was taking not just regular hits from Big Mom, but those were armament hockey encoded hits. And Big Mom hits hard. You remember how hard she was hitting Capone Gang Beige? Yeah. When she was beating up him, his castle is super sturdy, and even he was on the inside taking monster hits, and he was coughing up blood and everything. So Big Mom's hits are not light. For Law to be able to take these, it's
and
really speaks to his durability.
And keep going through, and then the actual attack put holes through everything.
Yeah, that puncture was huge.
Yeah. The amount of damage he probably did there was insane. And the fact that even then Big Mom was still not down.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness.
I think that crater really helps out Yamato too, because now she has a way to throw the bombs out the island and guarantee that it doesn't.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. I think that's really cool work by Oda, delivering a way for Yamato to actually save the island.
Goda does it again, dude. Okay.
Of course. So moving on from that, we have Kid's follow-up. And do you wanna lead this topic? Do you wanna lead this one?
My boy. First of all, I gotta give him props because he told Law before, he was like, I got an even better attack, and like Law was trying to clown him. He's like, oh, what comes after a bull? An elephant or something? And he's like, I'm not telling you nothing. And then pulls up on Big Mom with a goddamn railgun. And blasts her from almost point blank range. Like, that
was incredible. Like, I kind of predicted that he had the ability to create a railgun, but of that size and magnitude, And even Big Mom was afraid of taking that hit head on. You know it was packing some power.
Yeah.
You know, she said, I can take this, I'm Big Mom. And then Kid's like, yeah, that's exactly why we're doing this. And now you have a possible KO, but I don't really know if that's the case. You know, Oda typically doesn't end fights that easily.
Yeah, and especially not someone like Big Mom, who's been hyped up so much, I guess, you know?
Yeah, I mean, one of the four emperors. They're not gonna go down that easy at all. Speaking of like knockouts, do you think that her ability is something that will fade away as she loses consciousness?
I think it's possible in the sense that she kind of is constantly ordering most of her souls and such to do things. I think definitely the stronger ones are going to stick around, but I think once she loses consciousness, a lot of things are going to become easier, especially considering the misery might stick around. They might actually have to finish that one off, just because isn't that a combo of Hera, Napoleon, and Prometheus?
Yeah.
So yeah, they were the main ones who could probably stick around and help her out, even if she's KO'd. So
yeah,
maybe,
I guess
maybe the rest of their crews are gonna kind of step up and handle misery if Law and Kid can't fight after taking down Big Mom.
I mean, they better. You know, Law's done for the count. So for those of you that weren't following what I was thinking, it's kind of like how Doflamingo's birdcage would end after he got knocked out by Luffy. So I'm wondering if Big Mom's ability also follows that same logic, but you know, I don't think so, because then Nami's climb attack, you know, with Zeus infused would kind of be just a regular climb attack, and I kind of like the idea of her getting an upgrade. So, do you got any future predictions?
The main one is just the question of whether or not Big Mom is finished, and as much as I want to, I mean, the end of the chapter alone, you know, you had the awesome scene that you mentioned before with the back and forth between Big Mom and Kid, where she's like, I am Big Mom. And he's like, that's why I'm gonna finish. Like, that's why I'm doing this. Like, this is meant just for you because you're Big Mom.
Exactly.
And then he ends up blasting her, and you see like that the panel of her like reeling back, like eyes white, lots of blood, and Law saying your era is over, and even the note from Oda at the bottom, dragging the emperors off their throne,
literally kicking and screaming.
Yeah, and so I'm like, part of me really wants to believe like maybe between these two, like this was a massive combo attack. Like, let's include last chapter. Shock Willy into Punk Cornadillo, into a sign, into tact K-Room, puncture Willy, into Railgun. Like, the mother of all combo attacks. I want to believe so hard that Big Mom is down. But honestly, I feel as though Big Mom definitely couldn't have everything she has if this was enough to handle her. So,
well, one thing that I want to know is if they're going to need an attack that big to take down Kaido. Kaido's stronger than Big Mom, so Luffy will need something much more powerful than what Law and Kid managed to pull off. And I just don't know what that could be.
Well,
what's more powerful than a railgun?
I was gonna say, we do have to remember the fact that now that Luffy has like this new grasp of Conqueror's Haki, it puts him on a whole different level. Like, I'm sure Law and Kid have to like rely on these insanely draining like mega attacks, and I'm sure Luffy has one of those stocked up too. But if they could manage to like use their Conqueror's Haki in the same way to coat every single one of their attacks in it, I'm sure that like they would be doing way better against Big Mom. And so I think that maybe the fact that Luffy does have that new Conqueror's Haki fighting ability, I think definitely once he pulls out a gear, whether it's a gear 4 that we've seen before, a gear 4 that we haven't seen before, or a gear 5, I think it's definitely gonna be, that's gonna be his railgun equivalent, I guess.
Or he finally awakens his ability, and I think that's what everybody's on the edge of their seats waiting for.
I know.
Law, Kid, they have theirs open.
Since we're on the topic, what do you think Luffy's awakened ability is gonna do? Any predictions?
So I kind of had a corny idea around how he would turn the environment around him into rubber, and he would just pinball everywhere. But
I think I was thinking something like that too, especially just because like on top of that, he could bounce like his rubber attacks off the rubber and get even more momentum to like imagine like Gatling that like hits you from multiple different angles because it's bouncing on everything around it.
Yeah, if he combined that with Snake Man and its elasticity, there would be no way Kaido could dodge it or stop it. But I do want him to have more power, and I don't think that would give him the power he needs to take down Kaido. But we'll see.
Well, we're gonna have to see. You know, maybe it's possible that someone else from the crew or something, or someone else we might not even expect, might end up giving Luffy a helping hand to help take down Kaido. Normally I'd say Zoro, but I'm not even sure like if Zoro's gonna be ready to fight for a while now, given all the damage his body has taken.
Yeah, Zoro's occupied with the Grim Reaper right now, who I think is broke.
Sanji's kind of unconscious, a little sleeping off his queen fight.
Definitely.
Maybe Jinbei, but I feel like I couldn't see Jinbei as much. So
I think it would make more sense for Luffy and Yamato to take down Kaido. Yamato would be fighting for her freedom, and then Luffy would be fighting for the freedom of Wano, which is kind of symbolic, and that would make a lot of sense to me.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, so I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah,
there's no break next week, to my knowledge, and so we'll have our answers pretty soon. And with that, I guess that ends the episode. Q&A out.
Q&A out.